creative factory in Colorado.
Much as old as we are. But the way we do it, how we find facts, share what we learn, and build on what others have discovered, that has been completely turned on its head. Today, we're going to dive into that revolution, from the quiet, dusty halls of old libraries to the incredibly powerful algorithms that are shaping our future right now. It seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it? But that journey from just a single idea buzzing around in a researcher's head to a solid, verified fact you can count on, well, it's a lot more complex and fascinating than you might think. We're going to trace that exact path through all the gatekeepers, the systems, and the revolutions that decide what we accept as truth. I mean, just picture it for a second. Research, not that long ago. You're talking endless rows of books, that very specific smell of old paper, and painstakingly flipping through little cards in a wooden catalog. That entire world has basically been uploaded to the cloud. We've made this incredible leap from a system where knowledge was a place you had to go to one where it's everywhere, all at once. But here's the thing. With all this amazing new technology, the old rules are more important than ever. So before we get into the big, flashy revolutions, we have to talk about the foundation, because the credibility of any research, whether it's old or brand new, all boils down to one simple thing: the quality of its sources. So what's the real difference between an academic source and, say, a random blog post or a tweet you scroll past? It's all about one word: vetting. These aren't just opinions somebody has. These are materials written by actual experts and then rigorously checked by other experts. They are the bedrock, the solid ground of verifiable evidence you need to build any strong argument. Think of this as the quality control system for all human knowledge. Researchers are constantly running through this mental checklist to separate the signal from the noise. Has it been challenged and approved by other experts in the field? Does the person who wrote it actually know what they're talking about? And is it published by a source that has a reputation to protect? Passing this test is what separates real scholarship from just speculation. For centuries, a lot of this carefully vetted knowledge was pretty much locked away. It was stuck in the ivory towers of universities, and getting access was a real privilege. But then, the digital revolution came along and just blew the doors wide open. And look at how quickly this all happened. In a little over a decade, we went from these specialized niche archives for physicists to massive search engines like Google Scholar, which put millions of academic papers right at anyone's fingertips. This wasn't just a gradual change. It was a seismic shift in who gets to access information. These platforms became the new digital libraries. But instead of one giant library for everything, they were more like specialized toolkits. You had Google Scholar for casting a really wide net, JSTOR for deep dives into things like history and the arts, and PubMed for critical medical research. All of a sudden, the right information was just a few clicks away. But there was a catch. This digital explosion also created a new battleground. On one side, you have the open access movement, arguing that knowledge is a public good and should be free for everyone. And on the other, you have huge publishers locking the most important research behind super expensive paywalls. It's this fundamental conflict over who gets to know what, and believe me, it is still raging today. So just when we were all getting used to this new digital world, another, even bigger wave of change hit: generative AI. And this wasn't just some new tool, it was a whole new revolution, starting all over again. This quote just nails the feeling right now, doesn't it? AI is seen as this incredible thing that could solve so many problems, but it's also the source of some deep, deep anxieties about truth and what's real. It's a paradox, and we're all trying to figure it out in real time. Let's start with a promise, because the potential is absolutely transformative. We're talking about AI crunching data sets that would take a person a lifetime to get through. It can do a comprehensive literature review in minutes, not months. The goal here is to let the machines handle all the grunt work, freeing up human researchers to do what we do best: be curious, creative, and make those incredible breakthrough connections. But there's a flip side to every single one of those promises. AI has this tendency to hallucinate, which is a nice way of saying it can confidently just make things up. It can also absorb all the biases from its training data and amplify them. And then it forces us to ask these really tough questions about plagiarism, intellectual property. I mean, what does it even mean to be an author anymore? And these aren't just worries from a few people. 57%, that's a majority of college leaders who see AI as a genuine threat to how things are supposed to work. They see the incredible opportunity for sure, but they also see some serious systemic dangers that we have to navigate very carefully. So, how do we do that? How do we get all the good stuff while avoiding the pitfalls? Well, the whole conversation is shifting. We're moving away from just asking what the technology can do and starting to ask what it should do. And that means building a whole new ethical framework for the age of AI. This has led to this really interesting idea of a virtuous creative AI. The goalposts are shifting. Instead of just trying to build the most powerful or efficient tool, the priority becomes building the most responsible one, an AI that is guided by clear human values, with our well-being as its main job. And this framework basically tries to ground AI in things we all care about. Honesty, be transparent about what's AI generated. Empathy, make sure these tools are actually helping people. And civility, let's use this incredible technology to foster understanding, not create more division. It's a roadmap to make sure this technology serves us and not the other way around. And this new way of thinking is inspiring some truly radical ideas. For decades, the value of research has been measured by citation counts and how prestigious a journal is. But what if that's way too narrow? There's a new platform called ARTESEROSTEK that's exploring a future where cultural stories, videos, and even digital folklore are seen as legitimate, impactful forms of knowledge, right up there with a traditional academic paper. So ultimately, we're at a massive crossroads. The tools are here, and they get more powerful every single day. The future of how we find information, how we share it, and even how we define what knowledge is. That's not set in stone. It's a story that we are all writing right now together.